Buenas tardes, chicos. Today we're going to be finishing our 4-3-10 measuring speed, o 4-3-10 medición de la velocidad, that we worked on and started with our lab and the rolling spheres on Monday. So the sub might need to pause this video just a moment so that you can look for these two in your Notability. Everybody should have it open now. Then, once you have it open in Spanish, I realize that yours will be in Spanish, but it's the same. You should have the first page complete. You should have what are the two things or what are the things that you need to figure out the speed of something. Think about our lab. What two things did we measure? And then what are some ways that you can present this data? What have we done in class to present data in the past? Then what you'll need to do is you need to make sure that you have the stuff written. If you did not get the opportunity to do it on Friday or on Monday, or you were absent, the sub is going to pause this video for a moment and you are going to write this down. The better option is for the sub to write this on the board on the side. Then you need to copy it. If you are missing, like you didn't get time to do two more, you can write down, choose two of them that you didn't do, and write those down in your graph or in your data table. So pause the video now, write it up. The sub can write it on the board. And again, if you were absent or you didn't get any data, fill in some data that you are missing. We then are on the next page. Depending on which class you are, we had the time to start doing this graph or we don't have anything. So remember, with your graph, you need a title. So in English, we did Speedy Spheres, and in Spanish, it doesn't work quite as well, but you can write Rapidez de las Pelotas. Okay. On the side, we have distance in centimeters and time in seconds. Now, if I look at my data table, this is where your graph might be a little bit different. My time, my smallest time is 0.4, and my largest is 1.2, 1 second and 0.2. So I have enough on here so that I can fit this largest number on here. So I'm going to do my numbers here to represent this. So I'm going to do 0 in the corner, 0.1 on this line, 0.2 on this line, 0.3 on this line, 0.4, 0.5, and continuing on until I have put my scale on this graph. Then we come to 1 second, 1.1 second, and I can fit one up to 1.4. So if you don't have 1.4, you might have to do by every 2, 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8. That way you can get more on here. So my 1.3 will fit. Then my distance. If you noticed, everybody's distance is 50 centimeters. Okay. So we need to make sure that my graph goes up to at least 50. I'm doing it reverse just because that's how this is writing. You can do it from 0 to opposite. So, and I'm going to go every 5. And make sure that you have it on the line the best you can. Pardon my cat. He is here with me this morning. Okay. And then the very bottom line is 0 still, just like the time. So if the sub could pause the video now and give everybody time to finish filling this out, that would be great. Okay. Next, what we are going to do is we need to choose some different colors, and we need to choose them based off of what we have, and we're going to put our graphs on the data table. So this is going to be blue. This is going to be the metal ball. I'm going to just write them all here really quick. And I'm going to designate each a different color. Doesn't really matter what color. You can choose the colors that you'd like, if they represent the balls. Again, you might have other balls than I do, or spheres, because we all got to choose from 7. Next, the important thing is what was our distance again? Our distance was 50 centimeters. So we're only going to be using this line. In subsequent labs, maybe we'll use different distances, but we are only going to be using this line. So what I need to do is I need to look at my time, and I'm going to look at the time for metal balls, my metal sphere. I've got 0.45. So if I look at this line, okay, and actually let me do a darker one. If I look at just this line, this is the only line that I have to think about. And now I got to look for 0.45. Well, here's at the bottom my time, 0.4 and 5 is in the middle. So what I'm going to do is where they cross, okay, I will do my first dot. Okay. Okay, and that's going to be my metal. Then I'm going to look at my glass time, which is 0.5. So again, using this line, I've got 0.5, and where they match, okay, is where I'm going to do my next dot. Oh, I got the wrong color. I want the bright pink. Okay. Looking at my foam ball, I have, or my polysterno, 1.3, 1.3. So I'm going to look, I'm way over here at 1.3. Okay. Where they cross is going to be my next point. Okay. Then my tennis is 1 second. So I'm coming down here to find my 1 second. Oh, that is 1.1. Where they cross is right here. Now you're not going to see it for a second until I erase all the lines. And my ping pong is 1.2. And I made my dots a little large because I want you to be able to see them. Okay. So the sub can pause the video now so that everybody can get their dots. Remember, you're going to be looking at your data table. One other thing to note is don't forget to find the speed. Okay, you should have taken a calculator and done 50 divided by this time. It should be a large number. If you finish your graph, please make sure that you find the speed. Remember, distance divided by time. So pause the video now, and you can finish your graph. Okay, next, on the same page, we are going to look, and the sub can pause the video in just a moment. I want you to think about what we're doing in the activity. Now, note to my 5th graders, you get grades based off of all of your lab materials, and those are usually career and life skills. But your actual science grade is based off of what you said here. So, first, I want you to think about this lab. What patterns do you see in your graph? What does it tell you about the speed? So if we went distance divided by time, this is the speed, okay? I want you to think about if you had a faster speed, okay, where would you have the time, okay? If you said something faster, would I have a less time or larger time, okay? So the sub's going to pause the video here in just a moment, and I want you to think about what patterns share as a class and write them below. Okay, one thing I want you to notice, you guys, is I'm looking at some of these colors. Now, which ones are going to be faster? So they use the same distance, but they are a little bit quicker. They have a smaller speed of time. And I have metal and glass. Last time we looked at if they went faster, how does the mass affect them, the weight? Which ones are my heaviest ones? Metal, glass, foam, tennis. Well, where are my heavier balls? My metal and glass are over here. My foam and ping pong are the lightest. Hey, they're over here. Do you notice a pattern about the mass and the heaviness of some of our spheres? That's another thing you could write down here. On the next page, this is the same setup in Spanish. I want you to raise your hand now, and I want everybody who did the metal ball to share what was the time for your medal. Mine was 0.45. What was yours? Now I want you to think about what was the glass of other people. What time did you get for the glass balls? Okay. If you notice, many of them are not exactly the same. Our times are different. So I want you to think and raise your hand and share with the class. Then as a class together, you can fill this out. Why do you think some of them were different? Why aren't our times exactly the same? Sub, you can go ahead and pause the video now. Okay, then I want you to think, and you can share as a class and write it down. How could you change the speed of the spheres and outside of changing the different kind of balls? Okay, what are some things that we could do to make things go faster or slower if we wanted to redo this lab? Okay, when you are done, please turn it in to Schoology. Remember, it is the same name as the actual title. Okay, so you are looking for assignment 413. So this is what you see in Notability. This is what it shows in Schoology, or in your document is 410, medición de velocidad, and that's also what it says in Schoology. Turn that in now. When you are done, I need everybody then to do one thing. You need to go to your course. You need to select your grades, and you need to look at anything that is marked incomplete or missing. Like I said with some of your assignments, think about the activity. If you didn't finish this part, I can't give you a grade for science because that tells me what you understood for the actual assignment and the lab. Do not just depend on my overdue stuff, okay? So I just have upcoming. You don't have to worry about upcoming because these are things that we are going to do in the future. But your overdue stuff, if I mark it missing or incomplete, it doesn't show here on the side. So you actually have to click the course. You have to click on the gradebook, and on the side, you have to click on gradebook and look for any red incomplete or missings.